UFC Fight Night 170 on ESPN Plus 28, Brasilia. Lee versus Oliveira takes place this weekend, and there are a bunch of fighters that are flying under the radar, and these are my fighters to look out for on the card. And there are many reasons why these guys are flying under the radar. Maybe they're new to their career and no one really knows about them yet, and we're about to learn about them this weekend. Or maybe they're a good fighter that just doesn't have the right opponent that really makes the fight interesting. Either way, I'm going to take you through my fighters to watch out for, and I'm going to begin with the obvious one, Renato Moicano. A lot of people aren't talking about this matchup, but listen, if Renato Moicano comes into the UFC lightweight division from featherweight and makes a statement against this guy who isn't the best in the world, so I understand why this fight's being a little bit looked over, because Damir Hadzovic is just not the best guy in the world. Like, let's be honest, he's 13-5. He's coming off a loss in his most recent fight to Christos Giagos, who isn't the best guy in the world as well. He hasn't beaten the best opponents in the UFC. Marco Polo Reyes is 8-7 for a reason. I just feel as though Renato Moicano is going to tune him up. He's got a big reach advantage, which is weird to say because he's coming up from featherweight. I just hope, and one big thing that's people are going to have to look out for this in the fight. Does Renato Moicano's chin hold up? Because he is quite chinny. He is quite chinny. And we can all agree on that. As much as you like Renato Moicano, the big problem with his game is that chin. Like, it's worrying, which is weird to me because before he fought Jose Aldo in the Korean Zombie, he was fucking everyone up. I mean, this is a guy who tuned up Calvin Kattar for 3 rounds and did a better job than Zabit whilst doing it. I just feel like he fought 2 monsters of the division. Jose Aldo, the Korean Zombie, doesn't get much better than that unless you're the champion or the #1 contender. I feel as though we can give him a pass on some of those losses, and I hope he makes a statement in his lightweight debut, and he'd be an interesting addition to the division. I really do think so. If he wins, he'll probably get top 20, just outside the rankings, and then we'll see where he goes from there. Big guy to have in the division. I like it. He's already made a name for himself at featherweight. Now he's going to take over some of that fresh hype into the lightweight division. Bounce back after some losses. I think he's going to get a big win over Damir Hadzovic. Moving on throughout the card. Francisco Trinaldo versus John Makdessi. Another fight that's being slept on because a lot of people don't really pay attention to John Makdessi's career because he wins decisions. People don't remember wins if they aren't finishes. I feel like that's the case with a lot of MMA fans. We only remember, oh yeah, who won that fight? Oh yeah, that guy's body went limp to the canvas. That sticks out in our head. So when you see a guy like John Makdessi who goes to decision a bunch of times, he flies under the radar. And that's the point of this show. He's been in the UFC since 2010. It's mad to me, and someone's ringing me and they're going to have to get declined straight away because we're talking about prospects. John Makdessi is not a prospect though. He's been in the UFC since 2010 and he's been destroying guys, okay? Like, people pay attention to the loss that he had to Lando Venata, but to be honest with you, John Makdessi's had a great career, you know? I mean, he's 17-6. It's not the best in the world, but he's lost to Yancy Medeiros by split decision that was close. He lost to Donald Cerrone, which, if you remember, he tapped out because his jaw was busted. But, like, other than that, Lando Venata by spinning wheel kick, that can happen to people. I mean, there's a 1 in 100 chance that spinning wheel kick lands in the right place and you get KO'd. But since then, he bullied Abel Trujillo, he bullied Ross Pearson, and he beat Jesus Pinedo. He just beat a man named Jesus. What more do I need to discuss? Pay attention to John Makdessi, because if he wins against Francisco Trinaldo, he'll be in a good position of the rankings, and he'll be on a 4-fight win streak, and he will have won 5 out of his last 6, which is a big deal. It is a big deal. 5 out of your last 6 in a lightweight division doesn't come often. So I like it. I hope he gets a big win. I think he's going to get a big win. Pay attention to John Makdessi because he's 34 years of age and he's going to make one last run towards the title in his career. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know why he isn't at TriStar, to be honest with you. He lives in Canada, but you know, it's fine. It makes no sense. Just travel all the way down to Rufus Sport. Be retarded. That's fine with me. Either way, pay attention to John Makdessi. I know he's not fighting it's not the biggest fight on the card, Trinaldo Makdessi, but pay attention because Makdessi's on a streak right now. And, you know, that's hard to come by in the lightweight division, as I said. Moving on. The prelims. There is a fight here. Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos versus Alexei Kunchenko. Pay attention to Zaleski Dos Santos. Before he lost to Li Jingliang, who, by the way, just had a terrible performance versus Neil Magny. One of the worst performances I've ever seen in Li Jingliang's entire career. Either way, Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos, before losing to Li Jingliang in the 3rd round by TKO in China, Shenzhen, he was dominating the entire welterweight division. 7-fight win streak, spinning wheel kicking people, spinning back fisting people. fucking fisting people, period, like, in the face. Fuck's sake, where's my mind? In the face, like, just brutally destroying a bunch of guys in the welterweight division, running through contenders. And Alexei Kunchenko, on the other hand, was on a 20-fight win streak until he lost his last fight to Gilbert Burns on short notice. You lose a fight to Gilbert Burns on short notice, I can let things slide. You know, it's short notice Gilbert Burns. He's the legend himself for a reason, you know? He's taken some time off. He wants to get back in there against Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos. I just feel as though Kunchenko is... He's got here too late. You know, 35 years of age. You were 20-0. What were you doing in Russia being 20-0 and not being signed to the UFC? And I look at his record and I pay attention and I look at Alexei Kunchenko, and this is the reason why I picked Gilbert Burns to beat him. He's fought some schmucks. You know, he really has. I mean, he's fought some decent guys, but there's no names on his resume that stand out. I thought he'd maybe lost to Thiago Alves. That was a very close fight, and that was on short notice as well. Thiago Alves took the fight in Russia on short notice. Tough one to do. Then he beat Yushin Okami, and that was a pretty lackluster performance as well. I just haven't seen Kunchenko live up to the 20-0 hype that he had, and then he lost to Gilbert Burns. I think I'm going to go with Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos. I think he gets it done by KO as well. I just don't see it. I don't get the excellence in Alexei Kunchenko. I don't understand how he was 20-0. You know? I see his record. I acknowledge that he was 20-0. He's now 20-1. But he just doesn't fight like it. He's got short, stubby arms. Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos is going to have a major reach advantage. He's just going to bully him, I think. I think he's going to back Kunchenko up. Kunchenko can't fight going backwards. And he's going to utilise leg kicks as well, because that's sort of something that we saw Gilbert Burns do. And if Gilbert Burns, on short notice, can outlast Alexei Kunchenko in a decision, Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos is going to do it on full camp, in my opinion. I'm picking Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos. I hope he bounces back. And maybe we can see... You know, if he wins, he's back in the mix. If he wins, he's won 8 out of his last 9. That's a pretty good resume, if you ask me. And then maybe we can talk about him taking on guys like James Krause, him taking on guys like maybe if Makdessi doesn't beat Trinaldo, and we can see Trinaldo versus... There are 2 different weight classes, never mind. Don't... Just ignore everything I'm saying, to be honest with you. Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos, I hope he bounces back. I think he's going to bounce back in vicious fashion, getting the KO of Alexei Kunchenko. He's still a savage. He's 33. He's got some time left. Let's see if he can make one more run towards the title, because he is a dangerous, dangerous man. And I think he's going to get the job done. Other than that, there ain't really too many people to pay attention to on the card, other than maybe David Dvorak. I think I'll give him a little bit of spotlight here. He's a guy coming over from Russia, but it's just like, you know, it's just, he doesn't have the best... You know, it's the flyweight division. He's just got to the UFC. Unless you're in the UFC, you aren't fighting anyone good in the flyweight division. Although they may all have amazing scores. I mean, if you're going to make a prediction that you think's going to happen on this card, it's David Dvorak. I mean, on Tapology right now, you've got 89% of people picking him to win. I just think he's going to get the job done. He's a dangerous guy, 27 years old. From the Czech Republic, actually. It just has exactly the same colours as Russia, which really did throw me off for a second there. But either way, I like him. And I think he's going to win. And it's a new addition to the lightweight division. Or the flyweight division, sorry. So we should pay attention, because flyweight needs prospects. And the UFC's doing their best to sign some. 17-3. Good resume. If he beats Bruno Silva, he'll be 18-3. That's a good hyped guy to come into the UFC from a niche market in the Czech Republic. We're going back to Europe in the summer as well. We've got Jan Blachowicz from Poland. We've got guys around that area of Eastern Europe. Maybe put David Dvorak on one of those cards, and we'll see if he can get the job done. But David Dvorak is 100% going to beat Bruno Silva, because Bruno Silva is hot trash. Lost to Khalid Taha by 3rd round submission, and Khalid Taha's he's no amazing fighter, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just think Bruno Silva's going to get destroyed by David Dvorak, and I'm looking forward to it. And other than that, Amanda Ribas is very sexy, and Randa Marcos is also very sexy. And that's all there is to the card. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Pay attention. And to sum up, I'll go through all of them right now. Watch Renato Moicano's fight, because if he wins, he'll establish himself in a new division. Also, pay attention to John Makdessi, because if he wins, he'll be on a 4-fight win streak, and all of a sudden, we'll be considering him a real contender in that division. Also, pay attention to Amanda Ribas, because just get your lube ready. You know, I've got mine just on the table there next to me. So just get it ready because, you know, we could be on to something here if Amanda Ribas gets to jump on Randa Marcos. Pay attention to Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos because he could bounce back with a big win against a talented, good recorded guy in Alexei Konchenko. I don't know. Fucking all of these long names are pissing me off, man. I hate this card. I love the card. It's an amazing card. But the amount of long fucking names, I mean, yeah, it's just really annoying me throughout this entire experience. And either way, I can't wait to fucking commentate this shit because I'm just not going to name them. I'm going to give them their own little nicknames because I am not saying Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos over and over and over again. And I'm not saying Dos Santos because 50% of Brazilians are called Dos Santos. Get original with your names. How hard is it to name someone something new? You have every letter of the alphabet at your disposal. It doesn't even have to make sense. Just change it. So this Dos Santos da Silva. Don't give a fuck. Start being unique. Whatever. I'm not going to get too into the xenophobia, but either way, I think David Dvorak's going to win as well. And he could be a new flyweight contender. So we'll see what happens. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Click that button there. Good card. Good card. Just pay attention to those guys. Because there's some talent. I missed the stop recording button. Well, that hasn't happened in a very long time. See ya.